Welcome. My name is Richard Gonzalez, your friendly neighborhood Frito Bandito, and today's episode of Total Titles Back from Breaks, Training Camps. But before we get started, I want to introduce you, Mike, to the team. He's one of our newest members. Mike's how's everything doing today, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so like I said, you can follow him at Mike Jernigan79, the fantasy free agent. You want to say anything, Mike? Just anything about yourself?
Well, I've kind of been in the game for quite a while. Took a little time off when work got crazy because of COVID and everything, but I'm getting ready to dip my toes back in, and the Toilets to Titles guys were nice enough to bring me in and find a spot for me. So you can look for me more on their website in the coming months.
Yeah, our new website, toiletstitles.com. Come in, jump on, check us out. We'll have our broadcasts on, our articles, just a little bit of everything and stuff. So hopefully you'll be getting some articles on there too, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, so let's jump into this. So normally back from breaks is just one guy getting on and just getting on here and giving his little input of what's going on into the fantasy world and everything. But I figured, they have a little two people on here, give a little, because sometimes I get a little biased with me being a Raiders, and a couple things on here is going to be about the Raiders. So I have a good opportunity where you'll be able to jump in and kind of set me correct.
Okay, I'll do my best.
So now that time, it's that time of the season. All that little news coming out of camp that could affect and persuade you on how you look at teams and players going into the season. That awesome catch by the newest rookie receiver, or that 60-yard breakaway run from the upcoming superstars that took it to the house. Even the preseason depth charts that was released that puts that last year's number one tight end third on the depth chart, and maybe move that rookie tight end up to that one. Do you see that playing any factor when they mess with these depth charts in preseason?
Um, I mean, somewhat. I think it's a little overvalued with how much things move, but um, I mean overall, it's just kind of you have to be careful with stuff like that. The training camp can mislead you in a lot of different ways, like we're going to talk about here coming up.
Yeah, even injuries, they play a big persuasion on where we draft players in the upcoming drafts that we got. It's getting that time of the year where you got a lot of home drafts going on. So I know a lot of times these injuries affect the way you look at players when you're drafting. I call it the oohs and ahs, and maybe even the woes of training camp. But even with all this news, how do we look into all of this? Do we jump in, take advantage, and rank them higher, or is it just fool's gold? That's what I'll be discussing going forward. But before we do, follow me at R Gonzalez RM. You can follow the rest of the crew scrolling down below on Twitter. As always, follow us on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe, and the rest of our basically Apple Podcasts and Spotify and everything. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. First ones I want to jump in, and like I said, I'm a Raiders diehard by heart, and all this talk the past couple of days about Hunter Renfrow, how he's looking in training camp and stuff like that with these one-on-one practices with the Rams, and how he's burning Jalen Ramsey. Now, to me, I love the Raiders. I love Renfrow. Is he a superstar rising ADP? What do you think?
I think these stories make it a little overblown. I mean, so even Ramsey is coming out telling Andrew Siciliano of NFL Media, and this is a paraphrased quote, but I still can't find the play where I was burned. But sure, no disrespect to Renfro. I think he has some Cooper Kupp in him, which I love that comparison, by the way. I do think they play a lot alike. But Ramsey continued to say, I guess people don't know the difference between man and zone. So I was interested to see that when I looked up where this story came from, the very first thing I saw was from a Raiders beat writer. So I'd be curious to really dig in and see how many kind of unbiased journalists and people who were at the camp are reporting the same thing. That being said, I mean, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Ruggs, Brian Edwards, John Brown, Darren Waller, like how many offensive weapons can this team really support? So, I mean, Renfro is almost free. His current ADP is something like 260 or something. So, I mean, you're not paying much to get him. And if you want to try him as a lotto ticket, I don't hate that.
I broke out too there. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Yeah.
I got you. I got you. Now, and yeah, I'm a Raiders fan and stuff like that. But even in fantasy football, look, I'm still probably not drafting him in a regular draft unless you're in one of those deep leagues where 16 teams or something like that. He's a good player to maybe pick up in best ball and everything. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Like I said, people see this and all of a sudden, I always wonder if it makes him raise in some of these drafts that we go in. But from
Hmm.
Hunter Renfro, let's go over CeeDee Lamb. Now, CeeDee Lamb, we were already high on him, coming into the season, looking great last year. A lot better caliber than Hunter Renfro. Spectacular catches they've been showing and stuff like that. What's your take on him?
I'm a big CeeDee Lamb fan, so I'm not sure a couple, practice catches make me think any more or less of him. Uh, hey, look at
Look
this
who we got
guy.
jumping in here, Justin. What's going on, Justin?
Hey, fellas. Hey, listen, I saw the topic and I got to jump in real quick because tonight is my 21st wedding anniversary. So, you all know our executive producer, Lori, that keeps me on the straight and narrow. She's sitting next to me. Wanted to wish her a happy anniversary on our anniversary. And we're about to watch a movie. But if you don't mind, I've got somebody I want to jump in and talk about real quick, and then I'll get off here and let you guys get back at it.
Hey, this is what it's all about, man. Live, hit it.
Right on, right on. This is the first bathroom break I've seen with two people in the same bathroom at the same time, so I figured why not make it extra weird. So there's three of us in the bathroom together, but it's all good. Mike Straken, guys. Mike Straken for the Colts. I don't know if you've mentioned him yet, but everything coming out of camp is saying that his talent is off the chain. Thank you, Joseph Clark, for the happy anniversary there. But his talent, his abilities are off the chain. This guy is very unknown coming out of Charleston University. He did not get a senior year last year because of COVID, but his numbers were off the chain in Charleston as well. So yeah. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Just I better get back to the movie, but I wanted to wish her a happy anniversary to the listeners out there. So
Happy
Hey,
anniversary, Justin.
yeah, thanks for
thanks a
jumping
lot.
in, man. Happy anniversary to both of you guys.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great night. Great show.
You
Appreciate it,
too.
man. Go
All
ahead,
right,
Mike.
so back to CeeDee Lamb here. His current ADP is 47.1, and that's going by Sleeper's latest. And I'm using PPR.
Gotcha.
But I mean, last season he had 953 yards as a rookie. Amari Cooper had 1114. So I mean, he was right there neck and neck with Cooper already, and Cooper's ADP is 41.9. So I mean, he's a little bit higher. I think another thing to keep in mind when you're talking about Lamb is that Dak missed a good part of the season. And in the 5 games he played, and I know this is a silly stat, but he was on pace for 5,900 yards. I mean, he is a stud quarterback. Lamb has another year feel of the offense, and he is going to be. I just think he could possibly become the guy this year.
Yeah, I agree with you and everything. I guess where I was really going at with this too and everything, I guess I should have been more clarified is look, he's already up there in that top 20, say, for example. Are you drafting him over Amari Cooper?
I would, yes.
Yeah, I think I am too. I mean, just from seeing all the talent and the talks and everything, just being that fresh young receiver there and everything, he is the future of this team. So I am drafting him over Cooper too. Let's go ahead and jump into something that happened over this preseason in last weekend's first preseason game. Trey Lance outperforming Garoppolo in training camp, plus that 80-yard. It was what 80-yard touchdown pass that he threw
Mhm.
and everything. What's your take on Lance and how soon does he come in?
So I like Lance. In fact, before the draft, I had Lance ahead of Fields in my rankings. But I honestly don't know. I think the outperforming Garoppolo part is a little bit of a bridge too far for me. I
Gotcha.
think we saw on tape what Lance does well. And I think we knew he was going to do these things well. He has a big arm and he can get out of trouble when he has to. That being said, I mean, his stats were 5 for 14 for 128 and a touchdown. You take out that big play, that's 4 for 13 for 48 yards in his debut. That's not a good showing. That's not accurate. And he looked kind of baffled sometimes. And I mean, we've heard some reports that he's having trouble with clock management, and Greg Cosell, who's kind of revered reporter, said on the Ross Tucker football podcast that he was quote unquote all over the place when talking about that game. He's got some things to work on. I think it's going to take a while. I mean, they've got Jimmy G in the building, who has got them to the playoffs before. So I don't think they're going to try to rush this thing. I think they're going to get him in there, get him some experience, play him when they can, and just take things as they come.
Yeah, and that's the perfect ooh that I wanted to put in this. Look, just like what you said, based off the stats and everything, you take that one play out and everything. Yeah, he looked like a rookie. That's what he looked like and everything. And a lot of times people look into these just stats and everything in the preseason and stuff, and they get they get awed by it and everything. So that's an example, reason why I wanted to throw this in there and stuff like that. If you had the opportunity in a redraft and stuff like that, I mean, are you even drafting Lance?
I mean, it would have to be. It would depend on the league largely. It would have to be a super flex, and it would have to be pretty late in a redraft format for me to even take a shot on him, because I don't think he's going to play for a while.
Exactly. All right, great, man. Let's just jump in over to the Aahs. Julio Jones, minor lower leg injury. Once again, look, another injury every season and stuff like that. And new team, same episode. What's your take on him? Where are you looking at as far as drafting him? Does this drop him back a little bit now?
Yeah, again, this is according to Sleeper, but his current ADP was 38.1 in PPR leagues. I mean, an aging veteran on a new team, 32 years old, on a run first team that he's going to. I don't see myself having any redraft shares of Julio. I think he's overvalued right now. This injury might knock him down. I mean, depending on how long it lingers to an area where I might feel a little more comfortable taking a shot at him. Mm-hmm. But I just think I'm going to steer clear of him.
Yeah, same thing. Same with me. I had shares of him last year where I kind of transferred over with it being dynasty leagues and everything. But when it comes to drafting for a redraft this year, I'm trying to stay with them and letting someone else deal with them and everything. Because, like I said, new team, same story. Next one I want to jump into is Zach Ertz, still with the Eagles and everything. I was so high on Dallas Goedert this year, but with Ertz still being there and everything, what's your take on where you're looking at Ertz or even Goddard per se?
Yeah, I think people are going to be surprised at how much Ertz cuts into Goddard. Honestly, I mean, he's only one season removed from over a 900-yard season, and he only played 11 games last year. And granted, he didn't look great in those 11 games, but if he's healthy this year and sees a full season worth of work, I think he can flirt with that 800, 900-yard mark again. I don't think that's too far of a stretch, and obviously that cuts into Goddard's value, but I think Goddard can still be productive. I mean, you got Devonta Smith on that team, who's an injured rookie. You got Rager, who is kind of doing some things in preseason here, but he needs to prove it. Quez Watkins is kind of this preseason darling we're seeing coming up, but are we sure that a 6th round pick is going to be the answer that team's looking for? It's an offense starving for production, and we've seen it support 2 tight ends, and I think they can do that again.
Yeah, I think a lot of the drafts that I've been in, Goddard's been going before Ertz. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yes. Yep. Well, and I think a lot of that has to do with, all the rumors that Ertz was going to get traded in this offseason, and it just didn't happen. So I think that water's going to kind of find its level, and that gap is going to get smaller.
Yeah, so as of right now, he is a value, Ertz is, and everything. So as much as I'm still not drafting Ertz because I'm that Goddard truther that wants to see it happen and everything, and I'm still taking him over him. Hopefully, maybe something happens before trade deadline and he gets traded. Hey, latest episode of Antonio Brown? What'd you think about this little fight in camp and everything? Does this affect him?
So if you've been paying attention to Antonio Brown, he's a wild knucklehead to begin with. This camp, punches thrown, I mean, you never know. There could be a suspension involved. It would probably be a short one, I would imagine. But I mean, that's what you're doing if you're buying into Antonio Brown. He's at a discount because he is in Tampa Bay and behind Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Current ADP is 104.1. It looks like he's a lotto ticket. I mean, he could return to form and be a great wide receiver, but you're playing with fire, man. And the later you can get him, the better.
Yeah, he was that value for the Tampa Bay receivers when you're in drafts and everything. And when something pops up like this with the incident and everything, you always want, oh man, what's going to happen? Maybe it's a little suspension and stuff like that, just because of the fact that it's Antonio Brown. Normally you see these scuffles and breakouts in camps and not too much to it, but this kind of takes on a whole nother level when it's Antonio Brown involved into it. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the woes. We're getting a little bit long on this, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get someone on here and just discuss with me, because these are the discussions I like having. So the woes of training camp. Mark Andrews leaving the field after collapsing. What's your take on this?
Oh, it's sounding right now like it was just heat cramps, so hopefully it's something he can work through. I love his current ADP is 48.1. And I love him as a player. Like, he's so much fun. Like, he's just so tough. Like, he plays like a tight end should play, in my opinion.
He does.
That being said, 48.1 is a little high for me as far as tight ends go. Like, I think he's going ahead of Hawkinson, and I really like Hawkinson this year. I don't know. I feel like 48 is a little too high. It's kind of like we always talk about with tight ends is, you get Waller or Kelsey or Kittle. For me, Hawkinson is definitely a tier below, but I think Hawk could have a ton of production this year. And then I'm like pretty much fading tight end.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrews. I mean, I guess it depends on the draft. Some drafts Andrews is going before Hawkinson, vice versa and everything. But I think with the little incidences like this and stuff like that, maybe for a brief 2-3 days until Andrews gets back and these drafts are happening, he jumps up over him and stuff like that, and people take advantage of Andrews slipping a little bit and everything. So another woe this past week is the Chase Claypool injury. Low ankle sprain. They're saying Big Ben and Mr. Ebronix had to take him off the field and everything. Are you worried about this at all?
I am not. Mike Garafolo of NFL Network reported it was minor and he should be all systems go. I hope this knocks down his ADP before my next draft, because I would love to get him. Current ADP is 73.8. He's a dude that I love watching play too, and I just think he's got that alpha dog in him. I think he steals some of Deontay Johnson's touches this year. I just think he could absolutely blow up this year, I think, and I would love it if that caused a dip in ADP.
No, I would too. I would too. Yeah, Mr. Cheps over there is wanting to know when we linked up. It was all of a sudden, man. We were just talking, and next thing you know, I wanted to do a bathroom breaks and wanted to get another opinion on here. And who best to ask? Mr. Jerrigan himself, Mr. Jernigan himself. I apologize.
You're fine.
Well, I mean, only other things I was kind of wanting to go over, and this is kind of like already happened and stuff like that. But Carson Wentz injury. Look, it started out with a broken foot and everything, and they're saying it's looking a lot better and everything. Now, he slipped because it's injury, but do you see him slipping back up into drafts and everything before the season starts?
I mean, he could. Obviously, I think if the news starts trending in the right direction, I think Colts fans are definitely going to up his value. But so his current ADP, again in Sleeper, is 201.8. He's going around Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, Zach Wilson, and I understand that Wentz has a little more value as a rusher, but I don't really know what his upside is, so I kind of think he's sort of positioned where he should be anyway. I don't know. I don't think even if we had a report he was playing week 1, I don't know how much that's going to move the needle for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, no surprise here. I'm going to be drafting Carr over him. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. You know what? I think that pretty much covers everything on the Aahs and the woes of a training camp. Is there anybody you want to discuss before we jump off? Anything exciting?
I mean, I'd love to get your take on Hawkinson. What do you think about him this year?
Man, I've never been a big Hawkinson fan and everything. I mean, even when Stafford was there and stuff like that, look, he made it through for some reason, everybody keeps on thinking he's injury prone. but it was one season and stuff like that. He made it through last season and everything. But I just think everything that happened around him, set him up for success this year if Stafford was there. But now you got golf coming over and everything. And you know what? You can look at however you want to and stuff like that. Yeah, he's a downgrade from Stafford and everything. But on the same token and stuff like that, what other passing targets do they have there? I think they had Mr. Williams, Terrell Williams, come over from the Raiders. They got Marvin Jones there. No, Marvin went to Jacksonville.
Marvin went to Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, they're going to be struggling.
They are. So maybe his take should be skyrocketing and stuff like that, because maybe he's the only game in town and stuff like that. I mean, you do got your running backs are going to be running a lot, but I don't know. I feel like where he's going, I'm not looking at tight ends at that point in drafts, and I feel like I could get another one lower, down in round 9 and 10 and stuff like obviously Cole Kmet, look, he ain't going to be no Hawkinson right now and stuff like that, but he's a deep sleeper that I'm big on, that I'm just going to take later on in rounds and everything. Irv Smith, that's another one.
Irv Smith that's somebody I keep finding myself having on teams
and stuff like that. So where he's getting drafted, I'm not taking part of that and everything, but by no means. Look, he's gonna get some value, especially when you're in a tight end league where it's tight end premium and everything, and like with the Scott Fish Bowl that's been going on, where you get a point for every first down. He's going to be very valuable in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's always good to check your home team bias. So that's what I got out of that.
No, I appreciate you, man. And hey, like I said, man, this is the Toilets, Titles, Bathroom Breaks. Mike, I really do appreciate you jumping on. Before we jump off, do you got anything to say?
No, just keep an eye out for my stuff. I'm going to start writing articles for Toilets to Titles. Keep an eye out on the website for my content.
Well, I appreciate it very much. That's it for today's Toilets, Titles, Bathroom Breaks. We had 2 stalls today, so Mike, I appreciate you sitting in the other stall. Next time, maybe pass me some toilet paper, okay?
I got you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.